Welcome back. It is the Beyond Emissions podcast, brought to you by Solagent, your clean energy solution provider. We are here for you, for all of your clean energy needs and your customers' clean energy needs as well if you're in the industry. I know right now. By the way, Solagent's Beyond Emission podcast, available on demand, all past episodes, over 50 episodes on demand with experts from around the world. Myriad of different subjects pertaining to clean energy, energy storage, inverters, PV arrays, solar, so many different applications, residential, commercial, industrial. We have experts from around the world on the Beyond Emissions podcast. So for past episodes on demand, if you want to learn while you've got some windshield time driving to a job, they're only 45 minutes to an hour long. Great way to learn all about how to sell energy storage, how to sell clean energy solutions, the value propositions, and again, learning from experts from around the world. Our guest every single week right here at the Beyond Emissions podcast at the Solagent YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, also Stitcher, iTunes, and Spotify. We're there as well. Okay, so let me backtrack my original point. The layoffs that are happening right now are insane. The challenges are insane. And how can we overcome these challenges? Do we overcome the challenges in the clean energy industry by just, focusing on solar like we always have? Absolutely. Solar is a major component of our clean energy revolution. It's huge to be able to have that giant fireball in the sky every single day after day after day, providing us with clean, renewable energy. It's a no-brainer. We love solar. That's why we are your solar specialist here at Solagent. But at the end of the day, again, look at California, some of the big states in the nation where net metering's changing. So goes California. So goes the rest of the nation. Interest rates are high. So getting a principal down low enough where it makes sense and is attractive enough for somebody to borrow that amount of principal at whatever interest rate that they're at that time. It's got to make sense to them, right? They can't have that principal be too large. That can negate the savings at the end of the day if they do that. And so, different strategies need to be employed. What's the old Margaret Thatcher saying? The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result, and not accepting that reality is something that will just keep you in that, Groundhog Day scenario where you just keep doing the same thing and you're like, why are things not getting better? Because you need to change your strategies, man. And that's exactly why we're here at Solagent, your clean energy solution provider. We're going to help you not only survive this storm that we're in the clean energy business, but we're going to help you to diversify your business and help more customers with new strategies and new offerings here at Solagent with our clean energy solutions, electrical balance of systems, financing, inverters, racking, solar, energy storage, and strategies on how homeowners can save using one or all or some of those clean energy components. Depending on their needs and their circumstance. Maybe it's a virtual power plant program. Today we've got Matt Ruttenberg. We're going to be focusing coming up. The World Ag Expo is happening this week coming up. The 13th through the 16th of February, the largest agricultural exposition on planet Earth is happening in Tulare, California, in the Central Valley, where basically the Central Valley of California feeds the whole world. Over 30% of all the produce sold throughout the United States is out of Central California. It's amazing. So Tulare, California. Imagine the footprint or the show for like a RE Plus or Enter Solar for all of you who are listening in the solar business. The World Ag Expo is times like 4 or 5. That's how big it is. And they're facing challenges that most folks in this, world don't know how to navigate right now when it comes to their energy. And we have solutions for them. So, I mean, there's lots of different ways you can grow your business that's outside of the traditional solar residential bubble that you may be currently in. Time to pop the bubble. We still love solar. We're still all about solar, clean energy. But solar is a component of clean energy, not the only source of clean energy. It's part of it, just like your hand is part of your body. It's not your body, it's part of your body, right? And so we want to have all appendages of the body to have a healthy body or a healthy energy existence and have a real return on investment and new strategies of creating a total clean energy solution under one umbrella, all available here at Solagent. Email me today, storage@solagent.net, to find out more. Excited about our new guest today. Well, he's not new, he's been back, but the subject that we're talking about is the Ag Show coming up next week. And I talked to him. His name is Matt Ruttenberg. He leads the commercial industrial team for Fortress Power, primarily on the West Coast, but I utilize Matt and recommend him and his team from Fortress Power for commercial industrial three-phase storage projects to almost everybody. They're phenomenal. So Matt is on the program with us today. He will be joining us next week at the World Ag Expo in Tulare, California. Solagent's booth number 2305 in Pavilion B. Matt's going to be there. And Matt, welcome to the back to the Beyond Emissions podcast, my friend. You excited to get out to Tulare, California?
Oh my goodness, Josh! I believe it's going to be me and you, and that'll be it. We're going to be holding the fort down for Solagent and Fortress, and it'll be fantastic. So. For all the farmers out there, please, people with ag facilities, you got to stop by. There is some real pain that you're probably already feeling, but it's going to be getting more painful in the coming years. And we got solutions for you. We really need to start looking at and have you look at microgrid solutions, energy storage systems. There's a tremendous value add for you guys. It's kind of where we're at.
So most of our listeners that may be traditional installers that just go after residential, you heard my monologue. Am I wrong, or can they just keep doing the same thing and pumping solar only for residential and survive? Or is it important that they really delve out into these new opportunities? Diversification right now for their business to total clean energy solutions. It's and microgrids. I mean, is this a reality for them to survive or maybe thrive, not just survive, versus losing more market share and laying people off? What are your thoughts, Matt?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, with what the CPUC, the California Public Utility Commission did, and your audience knows this, I mean, it is no longer viable to send solar to the grid. They give you pennies on the dollar. It does not make financial sense anymore. So you gotta store that power on site, and then you deploy it at night when the sun when that nuclear reactor in the sky is no longer working. You got to be able to then take this on-site energy storage and use it to power your loads of your facilities, your homes, whatever. But you need energy storage. Otherwise, unfortunately, if you don't like batteries, maybe your grandmother, fell or got crushed by a giant battery falling from the sky, whatever it is. But the reality is that in order for you to survive, you're going to need to pair energy storage with your system.
That'd be a bummer. That'd be a bummer for a salesperson of a piano company. I can't sell your product. I'm sorry, my grandpa died from a falling piano from the sky. But what he's trying to say is he's illustrating how quite simple it really is. I mean, right? The solution, it takes hard work, but the answer is simple. My grandpa used to explain stuff to me that way. But continue. I think you're right.
Yeah, and listen, for the commercial side of things, what's great is, for your clients that have really been focusing on for the last 5-10 years, residential has been a complete no-brainer. It, especially in NEM2 or NEM1 scenarios, very simple to sell for the most part. It was very like one-to-one. Everything made sense, But now that that's really hurting, step into the commercial markets. In fact, all the growth of really solar is projected to happen in this kind of commercial and industrial, not necessarily utility scale and above residential, kind of from about 100 kWh up to about 5 megawatt hours. That's where all the opportunities are going. There's all kinds of financial metrics to show that show this, and it's where the opportunity is. It's an underserved market. So if you guys are hurting, and you're looking for business, C&I is exploding. And there's reasons for it, but these commercial facilities, they're getting just creamed. Not only is there generation charges, there's demand charges. So they get charged per kW. Think of it like for one 15-minute interval from the utility, your highest spike of energy over any 15 minutes over the entire month, you pay for that. Meaning, you could use no power whatsoever. You turn on if you're a farmer, right? Well, it wouldn't be just once, but you could use almost no power whatsoever. But you have some kind of pump you turn on, that energy usage skyrockets, and guess what? 3/4 of your bill is those small little increment time periods where you're using this equipment, where it spikes up and then it goes back to a normal state, but you're getting creamed on that spike. And that's why you want to have on-site energy storage. You don't pull from the grid there. No, you got a smart energy system. You got a microgrid controller. You got an intelligent software. You put in a dynamic setting that says the second that this thing hits a certain kW threshold, these batteries are going to discharge. Think of it like the Terminator killing spiky loads and high energy storage bills. It's just you're gonna pull from the battery. You're going to cover those spiky load, those high kW demands, and those charges are now eliminated from your bill. And we can get into virtual power plant programs. I mean, there's so many additional, value adds as well. Think of it like this. If you're up in the Central Valley, PG&E, you got rolling blackouts, right? All right, well, check this out. Our systems, or systems like ours, they have this very smart, intuitive AI software. And it's going to notice, that it speaks to the utility. The utilities say, oh, crap, coming rolling blackout right now. Literally discharge your batteries for the systems that you can play with, that they can play with. Ours is one of them. Hey, Fortress Power System, discharge the battery at your ag facility, Joe's Farm, the Joe's Farm, microgrid energy storage system. It hears from the utility, oh, rolling blackout, cool. We're going to discharge from the battery, eliminate all your loads. You're not affecting the grid. We're going to pay you extra money for that. Emergency load reduction demand event. Things like this. Selling into the wholesale markets, right, where there's buying and selling of power and energy to even the utility company. So the ability to tap into that, where your clients can make additional money there. It's all about saving clients money. And when you're in commercial, while previously it was great to talk with those residential clients, right, and that was an easy sell. All right, now it's going to be a little more sophisticated. But you're going to be talking to a CFO, an accountant's going to look at this, because you might have a $500,000 job, $1 million job. No one's writing you a check for that until they see how this thing pencils. But with Fortress and great companies like Energy Toolbase, but Fortress, we have our own financial modeling. We're going to put the entire, information into the system, and we're going to be able to show that accountant, that CFO, Mr. Customer, this is how your project pencils. This is how you're leaving money on the table, And, so even though it's a different kind of sell, when it really is going to save people money, they start looking at an internal rate of return of, north of 10%. CFOs are going to want to go after something like that. It makes money for them.
It's like Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar would always, and rest in peace, man. What a treasure to the sales world. If you're in sales of any kind, go read Zig Ziglar, Born to Win, See You at the Top. All of it, you know. You can have everything in life that you want if you help enough other people get what they want. You mentioned that. It might be a large upfront investment they have to make. Zig Ziglar used to say, listen, what you're charging the customer may be a high price, but if you know how to explain the value to the customer of what that price entails, in other words, what is it going to do for them? What is it going to get for them? How is it going to get them the savings or achieve their goals or whatever it is? In other words, you're always willing to spend more if you're convinced that value is there. And I think that what you're saying is you're going to help our installer customers with this pro forma show and prove by evidence through your process the value of why that investment makes sense. And if truly followed and truly implemented, and the value is truly explained to the customer and received, they'll be willing to pay whatever price to receive that value, right?
Oh, absolutely. And furthermore, specifically for the ag community, this is where, you guys in the agricultural space have it better than any other industry on the face of the planet in relation to renewables. And here's why. We all hear about the IRA and the ITC. So, you're talking about upfront expenses, right? You're a company, though. If you're making money, then you're paying taxes. So with this ITC, and that's not where I'm going here, but this is just the first part of, this is the nice cookie for everybody across all industries. The ag community, though, has it better than everybody by a mile, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But just for traditional businesses, you get 30%. So if you're paying taxes, say, just for real simple numbers, say you got a $100,000 job with solar, some kind of, energy storage system, whatever, $100,000, 30% ITC. That means that if you pay taxes, Mr. Customer, you're going to 30% of that $100,000, $30,000 you're not going to have to pay in taxes. That's not, and that's a tax break, So, if you have tax appetite, that's great. And with the IRA now, even for nonprofits, for churches, things of this nature that don't, they send you a direct check of that 30%. Now it gets even better, because if you're in an energy community, you get an additional 10%. And if you're in a low-income community, you get an additional 10%. So for traditional businesses out the gate, you have upwards of 50% that you're going to get back, and if you're a nonprofit, it's just a check that they write you, like a church or whatever. That's half the job right there. Now, you got to come up with half the money initially. I'll get into that in a minute with Fortress Power and the value add there. But, you got to come up with the money. All right, now the bigger thing for the ag community that I don't think a lot of people know about is there's the ITC on steroids, and that is the REAP grant. Rural Energy for America program. This thing is a freaking godsend. And you know what? You mentioned it earlier. The farmers, 30, you're feeding the country. So, of course, the government's got to come in and do everything in their power like they've been doing for the last, several decades.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
How much more are bread and eggs and milk right now versus 3-4 years ago? If farmers out there could lower their energy costs, might bread and milk and eggs be stabilized or come down?
Oh yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and maybe that's what the government was thinking. So yeah, let me get into the goods of this REAP grant program.
Yeah,
but basically up to 50%, guys. And so if you're an EPC, you should be looking at this ag space. You want opportunity? You can literally go door knock on these ag farmers and let them know that in addition to the ITC, in addition to that upwards of 50% that they're going to get back in tax breaks, they can get 50% from grant funding from the government. 50% grant funding through REAP grants for your energy storage projects. And here's the specific numbers on this, right? Upwards of $1.5 million in direct grants that they can get. So really, you got to think of the math here, right? So 50% of the cost of their project and a max of $1.5 million in grants. And the real, your fine print there is they only allow you up to $1 million in grants in one fiscal year. So if you time it right, maybe you're doing your project more, or you do it in stages. You can't do the whole. You're not get the whole $1.5 million in 1 year. The max they'll give you is $1 million. So over 2 years, you do your project in stages, or you time at the end of the year, and then then it's all seamless, because you could then do the continued project at the beginning of the next year. But the point is, up to $1.5 million they will give you back in grants through the REAP grant program, and upwards of 50% of the total cost of the project. And you can stack that with the ITC. I mean, that's almost a free project. Now, one thing additionally, that 50% grant does count as taxable income. So, all right, what's the corporate tax rate? 20%? 20% of 50%? All right, there'll be 10% that the client will have to basically pay back in taxes, or something along those lines, right? But if you are in an energy community, you're in a low-income community, holy cow, you're going to have 50% there, the other 50%, and then you'll have to pay 10% in taxes. You're going to have 90% of your clients will have 90% of the entire project paid for. That's insane. So you want to talk about an opportunity. You guys are hurting for business. You're an EPC. Come to the World Ag Expo. There's going to be tons of farmers there, ag players. These guys have expensive energy bills, and a lot of it has to do with the equipment that they're starting up and these very spiky demand charges that they get hit with, which has nothing to do with how much kWh they're using. It's kW. And this stuff can be, $40,000, $50,000 a month. Now, the slam dunk here with Fortress Power Systems,
boom,
because we just got back from the Sunnova Summit. And for commercial energy storage systems, there's 3 players. That's Sunnova, massive, solar financing arm, across the U.S. Your EPC partners, they all know about Sunnova. They're probably all signed up with Sunnova. If you're not, you should be, okay? A huge financing company. Sunnova wants to back, or is currently backing financially, 3 players in commercial and industrial, or commercial energy storage systems. Tesla, makes sense. Another company called Socomec, and Fortress Power. We're one of 3 companies across the entire planet that Sunnova is backing. What that means is Sunnova is down to do a PPA, they're down to do a lease, or they're down to do a loan, right? So now your client doesn't even want to come out of pocket. Yeah, but that's going to be expensive to come out of pocket. You do a Sunnova loan with this, and it's an ag facility? Holy cow. I don't know of a better finance. It might be the best, one of the very best financial decisions any ag company will ever do in the history of their business, and the longevity of their company, is this opportunity with REAP grants stacked with the ITC and the ability to go out and get a loan through Sunnova for a Fortress Power commercial system. You could go Tesla too. I mean, look, Tesla's a good company, but they're hard to deal with, a little bit, and the customer service, I don't know. Tesla's a great company.
Well, no, and one more differentiator, and this is just full disclosure. Like he said, Tesla can be a great option for folks, and that's why I love working with you, Matt. You're willing to just tell the truth, not just only us. You're being honest, and that's exactly what we want to give you, listeners. We want to give you an unbridled view. Absolutely no bias whatsoever. This is the truth, and you can make a decision based on the facts. And, you mentioned that, but I'm really glad that you did. And the reason why is there is another differentiator of why a commercial, industrial, say ag opportunity might want to consider Fortress Power instead of Tesla, is because Tesla's C&I solutions, They come with a chemistry called nickel manganese cobalt, NMC, which is more conducive to thermal runaway and cascade failure. But they've got that handled to a degree. Obviously, they're safe enough to be deployed, but that is a chemistry reality where it's less safe. We use at Fortress Power safe lithium iron phosphate technology, which not only is it's not conducive to thermal runaway and cascade failure like Tesla's chemistry, NMC chemistry, but lithium iron phosphate. Yeah, and they get lithium iron phosphate gets 40% more life cycles as well. So if you're looking at your payoff and your longevity of that investment, doesn't 40% longer life make sense?
Oh, I mean, no, absolutely. But anytime you're in the company anytime you're in company with Tesla, I think you're in a really good spot there. And
right.
But yes, there is a huge difference between the technology. So, give you an idea. Everyone's heard of the Tesla fires, and to be honest with you, I don't know. Is it 1 out of 1,000 systems, 1 out of 500 systems? And it's not going to happen right away, but there's these things called thermal runaway events. It's a complete outlier, but every once in a while it happens. And what happens is it basically instantaneously, the event happens within a couple seconds with NMC chemistry. And then the temperature, everything explodes. It goes up to 600 degrees Celsius. Now with LFP and the batteries that we use, when that outlier event, it's not instantaneous, not 3 seconds. It's about a 5-minute, holy crap, the system's going haywire. It's a 5-minute window. It's not 3 seconds. And it doesn't jump to 600 degrees Celsius. It goes to 60 degrees Celsius. So it gets warm. And then additionally, we have all kinds of internal fire suppression, so there's no issue there. I will say for your EPCs, the local AHJs are really tight, authority having jurisdiction. And so there's going to be a real preference for LFP chemistry. So there is that. But, I mean, listen, Tesla's the 9,000-pound gorilla in the room. And so, they almost have carte blanche, and as they should, because they've been leading the charge. And I also do believe that they are embracing LFP. It's NMC, LFP, but I think they're going that route. But where Fortress even differentiates from Tesla right now, even when Tesla is potentially using LFP chemistry, and that's very kind of up in the air. We don't get, we hear one day, they're using LFP, then we hear they're still using NMC, so we don't know, right?
But NMC is being deployed right now.
But let me finish. But the point is for light commercial, they don't have an offering like our eSpire.
Right.
So we have a full microgrid in a box that is Sunnova. It's the only system that they have for light commercial. Tesla's big with big utility scale, big, massive, giant systems. Now, we have large systems as well, but for lighter systems, for that smaller ag player, our eSpire Mini that goes from 30 to 90 kW of nameplate AC power delivery and goes up to 266 kWh of energy storage. Well, Tesla don't have that. Socomec doesn't have that. Actually, nobody on it right now really across the industry has this microgrid in a box. Let me tell you about the eSpire Mini. What's great about this thing is, like I said, it's a microgrid in a box, but you have AC and DC coupling inside one unit. Okay, you can directly DC couple up to 135 kW of PV or solar directly into the system. It also has AC inverters. So you can AC couple up to 90 kW, and then you're discharging from the battery up to 90 kW and delivering that to the load. Okay. Additionally, it has islanding equipment built inside. There's no islanding equipment that you need with the eSpire Mini. It islands on its own. It has a 100 kW static transfer switch with 30 milliseconds of transfer time. Oh, by the way, the optionality, it comes with 480 volt and 208 volt three-phase service, right? So get rid of that external step-down transformer. What else? It's got all this internal fire suppression, so the local AHJs love it. It's completely contained. Smoke sensors, temperature sensor, an aerosol fire suppression system. It's got a sprinkler system in the back if you want it, because there's a water line hookup. I mean, it's just unbelievable what we're providing. And I forgot to mention the biggest thing. It has Fortress Power's microgrid controller and energy management system inside. So you can now talk about dynamic settings where it doesn't matter when your load spikes. This thing's going to automatically remove those spiky, sporadic, demands in your loads. And then additionally, you're going to be able to play into the energy markets like I was talking about. The utilities going, hey, there's you can sell into the if you're in California, the CAISO wholesale market.
Right.
Right. Emergency load reduction events with the rolling blackouts, vehicle to grid stuff. Virtual power plant, all that.
Well,
ready to go.
And who loves hot sauce? Who loves Taco Bell sauce? Right?
I love all of that.
Right in the Central Valley, here in Central California. Again, next week in Central California, the largest ag show on earth. Matt Ruttenberg from Fortress Power here on the Beyond Emissions podcast. He'll be at our booth at booth 2305 in Pavilion B. Come see us there for your ag solutions. But when you're driving up and down the valley, up and down the 41 on the back roads or the 99 or even out at the 5, there's these big, gigantic food processing facilities that make anything from, peppers, seasonings, sauces, even like all the Taco Bell sauce for like the whole world is made right here in California, right in Central California. So anyway, I went to one of these food processing facilities that are located here in Central California a few years ago. And the guy told me his demand charges are so high that they have to stop what is a 24-hour operation. They have to stop it during that period of time to not get nailed. They literally have to stop doing business because of it. And the amount of money they lose from stopping their production is insane. So we're not even talking just the losses from the demand charges. We're talking about the fact that they're actually losing profit in production as well, right?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, there's all different kinds of additional, value adds that you got to think about. When there's a blackout and that food gets spoiled, I mean, that's everything. When you get into this industry, you start thinking about all kinds of stuff. We're talking with a printing press. I never thought about this, but when the blackouts happen, this is more in Colorado where I didn't know Colorado had some power conditioning issues as well, certain sections. And they're like, every time we have a blackout, there is about $25,000 in material that is wasted that we just have to throw out. I can't even imagine your cold storage facility or some kind of anything relating to food. It can be, those costs really add up. So the ability to have a system where when there's a blackout, this is going to seamlessly. This is what we talk about islanding, meaning you have grid tied backup. You have a whole energy storage system tied to the grid, powered by solar. Great. The second that a blackout happens, within like 30 milliseconds, less than a second, you're immediately transferring from grid following to grid forming. And you create an island. It islands, and there's just this own individual microgrid, your own green energy plant. You're completely disconnected from the grid because the grid is not on right now. And now, all your solar is still generating. It's feeding those loads, and then furthermore, everything else is going back into the battery to store, and then it goes like that, and it's tremendous. And then once the grid comes back on, great. But we have rolling blackouts now in PG&E, but and probably it's going to proliferate through all the other territories as well. I don't think we get it too bad with SCE down here in Los Angeles, but every once in a while. But guys, we're moving towards a completely electric California. I think that's good in a lot of areas, but sometimes people, it's very basic stuff that sometimes people forget. Really smart guys can be really kind of stupid in a sense. And what I'm talking about is, I love EVs. I love all of that, right? But the idea that to mandate and to basically say by 2035 all new cars have to be electric, I don't know if that's so good for the grid. It's good for us in the energy storage system, but for regular customers out there, we already have resiliency issues, and there's issues with the grid. They're projecting about another something like 11.5 million vehicles are going to come online from now to like in the next 11 years. 11.5 million electric vehicles in California. I mean, we got the world's fifth largest economy, right? So the big hello is they run on electricity. So what kind of demands is that going to put and stress is that going to put on our grid that's already stressed? So talk about greater blackouts and sharper, steeper bills. I think there's a real, especially if you're a business. Holy cow! If they're not looking at it, they need to be looking at it. And I'll tell you this: anyone paying $15 per kW on demand, you should start looking at energy storage immediately. And if anybody hitting $20 per kW in just demand charges, we're not talking about the kWh, what they're actually using, just demand, which means that one tiny spike, the load spikes once throughout the entire month, they pay that, right? And if they're paying $20 per kW in demand, I can tell you that's basically the threshold at which energy storage pencils on its own, and then there's a lot of people paying $25, $30 per kW. Those people need energy storage yesterday, and all you need to do is show some CFO or accountant the cash flow statement of how this thing pencils, and it's going to be an absolute no-brainer. You think selling, resi is easy? You find the right kind of client that's paying $25, $30 per kW, and they have serious mental issues if they're not signing up for an energy storage system, paired with solar. And and if they're an ag facility or they're going to get a REAP grant and get half of that back, then, I don't know what to tell you, but that would be, they should be, they would almost be certifiable at that point because it would be against their best interest.
You think a lot of the residential installers that are struggling and are hearing about this great, amazing opportunity in ag and commercial industrial and Fortress Power commercial industrial solutions available at Solagent, do you think that the light bulb's going off and they're going, you know what? I don't have to be intimidated by CNI. I've got Josh and Matt and their team from Fortress Power and Solagent. No need to be intimidated anymore, right, Matt?
Oh, no. And it's hard, but what we're doing is we're stepping, it's hard work we're doing because we're recognizing the need. You guys are going to be stepping into the space because it's where the money's flowing. The opportunity is there. And I will tell you that residential is very different than commercial. It's not terrible, but there's things that you got to process. So with Fortress, we're going to do the on-site commissioning for you. We're going to commission the system for you. But there is a process. But the best thing is when you find a project where, like I said, where companies are paying a certain amount of dollars in KW, it's going to be a pretty easy sell, for the most part. I mean, you're going to really like this space. However, you're also going to need some hand-holding, right? And it's just part of it. And there's a lot of engineering work. Don't get me wrong. This, where I say it's the polar opposite from Resi is Resi, you might be able to slap glass pretty quick, right? I come from that space. And it's a much simpler process. The interconnection on commercial, a little more challenging, right? Reviewing their single line diagrams, a little more challenging. There's a lot more engineering that goes into it. And I'll tell you why CNI is so underserved is the big utility scale players. Tesla's doing it a little bit, but they're a little more hands off. Killer company, they're fantastic. I again cannot sing that guy's praises enough. I think he's awesome. He gets a bad rap. I mean, whatever he's doing with other stuff, that's weird. But him at Tesla, I think, is great. I love the cars, the whole thing. But they're a big company. They kind of don't, for the most part, it's going to be hard if you're a small-time guy to get, or, not like some major player you're not going to really get assistance from them, And the Hitachis of the world, the big utility scale guys, they don't go down below, 10 megawatt hour projects, let alone 5 megawatt hour projects for the most part, because the same engineering resources for a 20 megawatt hour project is the same engineering resources as a 500 kWh project, right? So that's where Fortress can come in, and I think other people are going to do this as well. But I think we're certainly really well positioned where, no, we got your back. We're going to provide dedicated engineering support to handhold and take you through this process, because it's a different process. These are much longer sales cycles, unfortunately, right? But that said, huge opportunity. It's where it's the need in the market, and if you find, and there's a ton of players in the ag space all over where they're paying very high demand. You throw a REAP grant on there with a Sunnova loan? Are you kidding me? That is, they don't care if it's going to take 6 months to get this thing in, or even not, they don't care. And if Fortress has your back on the engineering side, then I think this could be a real win-win, and it's something you should look at.
Matt Ruttenberg, commercial industrial expert on our team here at Fortress Power. I love it. Fantastic. Matt Ruttenberg making it happen for us here. Fortress Power C&I team. He's going to be at booth number 2305, Pavilion B, at the World Ag Expo on the 13th through the 15th, February 13th through 15th next week, or this upcoming week. And at the Solagent booth, again, come by Pavilion B, World Ag Expo, booth 2305. Matt's going to be working the booth with me the entire time. We're going to also have Lamis Abushi, a regional account manager from Solagent's going to be there. And also, don't forget, thank you so much, Karen Hale, Vicki Wallace on the behind the scenes, making sure that we get all of your products and everything quoted correctly that Matt works with you on. So that's exciting. And in addition, farmers, ag opportunities, where you want to take advantage of these savings and these values that we can connect you with at the Ag Show or anytime, really. Email me, storage@solagent.net. We're going to have Leland Drysdale, valued customer and partner of Solagent, Leland Drysdale from Drysdale Construction, who'll be on hand as well in California for Northern California, Fresno County North, so we can connect you as well there. Ag, it's kind of a catch-all. Matt Ruttenberg with Fortress Power. Thanks again for being on the Beyond Emissions podcast, buddy.
For sure.
Ag is huge. It's kind of a catch-all. But this just came to my mind. We also happen to live in a world where there is a lot of indoor agriculture in many states where legal cannabis, for example, is legal. And hemp legal under the Farm Bill as well, growing hemp operations, et cetera. Not all of that is going on in an outdoor setting. A lot of it is happening indoors with lighting, fans, HVAC, and a lot of those systems use a ton of electricity. And so that industry as well is an opportunity for, I know most folks from the past in ag or doing solar installs may not have thought of it, but we have a whole legal industry that's consuming a ton of electricity out there and can benefit from these solutions as well. Just thinking outside the box.
Josh, I'm going to kill you here, and this is how you get full disclosure. I'm very transparent. It's how I roll. I'm going to crush you right here. You're going to be so mad when I drop this on you. I think it's complete BS. But for the REAP grant, unfortunately, that 50% REAP grant does not qualify for marijuana farmers, believe it or not.
Oh, no, not the REAP program. Obviously, We're not talking about that. We're talking about the utilization of systems like the eSpire, properly sized to one of these cannabis operations where legal in their state. You're able to provide them with energy offset using your energy storage solution. So even if they can't take advantage of those programs federally, they can still take advantage of their state programs in which they live, where their industry is legal, and they can take advantage of the Fortress Power through Solagent technologies of energy storage that can help them with their high energy cost. Pardon the pun, but right? I mean, that's really where I'm talking about, not the programs.
No. That's a no-brainer. Absolutely, and we're friendly with the cannabis farmers, So we're as far as we're concerned, I think it's a great industry. Love to work with those guys, and huge opportunity to help the cannabis. By the way, unfortunately, and it sucks, but the prices have really plummeted on pot. And I say that for the farmers themselves, right? So now when you have higher costs and those prices have really plummeted, boy, do the costs really come into the fold, And so, this could really be the difference between some great farmer, who loves his work and gosh darn it, that you're doing a great service for the community. You're growing, you're doing everything right. You're providing a great product, and now you're getting squeezed on pricing. Well, at least let us come through and really eliminate and take care of your rising costs, which are only going to go up higher. So let's keep you guys in business, right? That's the way I think about it. And hopefully,
it's all about
really fast. Let me just say this. Hopefully, we get our act together on the federal thing, because I think a lot of people think like, hey, come on, this needs to be federally approved. In which case, you'd like to think, and hopefully that's happening soon. And if it is then federally approved pot, then certainly you'd like to think that this would open up for the GREEP grant opportunity with the pot farmers.
Right. It's we the people, and we the people in all of the states have spoken on what they want, and so the Fed should follow suit. And business owners in those states who are operating legally under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution, where they have the right to operate in their states, they should be able to take advantage of all the same business tax deductions and opportunities everyone else does. This isn't a pro-cannabis show. What this is pro is...
The 10th Amendment, baby! The 10th Amendment!
What this is pro is a show that is pro showing you business owners who are struggling in the residential-only market. What markets are that have legal money-making opportunities, whether it's making hot sauce or cannabis in a state where it's legal. You have an opportunity to go and save people on their energy cost for their businesses if you show them the value, which, from what you're telling me and what we've experienced with customers already, Matt, Fortress Power and Solagent, we can prove and give that evidence for you in your hands so you can show that value to your customers. And like you said, anybody with a brain would go, hey, sign me up, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And for those EPC guys that are a little more sophisticated, hey, we're not trying to go, use us for everything. We'll give you energy tool-based ETB inputs on our system, so you can run your own analysis. Because hey, you go, it all sounds great, but I got a brand and a reputation to uphold, and I think the fact that Sunnova's backing this, I think, speaks volumes. And we have Fortress. We've been around for 7 years. We've done 40,000 installs. We're the main battery supplier for Hydro Quebec. We're doing 5,200 homes right now with the Puerto Rican Housing Authority. We've done some very cool C&I jobs. We do all the backup power for SEPTA, the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transit Authority. That's the trains going in and out of Philly. We're actually based right outside of Philly, so just FYI there. But, I'm in Los Angeles, and, we're a whole U.S., we cover the whole U.S. and really all parts of the world as well. But yeah, for you seasoned guys out there as well, they really like ETB. ETB is Energy Tool Base, is just an excellent company. And so, we're not trying to, butt heads with them. We can give you ETB inputs on our systems. You run your own analysis. Heck yeah, let's go. In fact, why not? It makes our job even easier, But we're happy to also, do as much hand-holding and assistance as is needed. Just, be mindful that we're doing a ton of work for you. So it'd be appreciated if, you guys aren't yelling at us after a couple days of not getting you back, just understand that we're really stepping up to the plate here. So if it's a couple weeks, we appreciate that. Otherwise we give you ETB inputs, go do that analysis on yourself. And the only reason I say that is it's just the growth is explosive over here. So it's like handling all this, from the engineering side, once it's really the project sold, we got all those guys. But as far as, doing these proposals and, guys, 1 out of 5 proposals are probably going to go through. So we got people sending us proposals left and right. And, so that's where the bandwidth is, I think, at Fortress a little stretched. So we appreciate it if you guys don't take too much advantage of us, but we're trying to provide as much value as possible. And I just say, hey, just bear with us. We're doing it for this service for free for you. So just, if it's a week and a half, 2 weeks, it won't go longer than that. And sometimes it's less than a week too, but just bear with us. And, we're providing a lot of value, free value for you guys.
For opportunities that are going to, take you 2 years, probably a year to install, or 6 months or 9 months, or they're very long project times. Yeah. And so 2 weeks of somebody doing free engineering value, like Fortress Power does through Sologent, is well worth the wait and being patient. You definitely get a great outcome. Yeah. We're going to have
one thought there.
Go for it.
Josh, one thought there. For you Resi guys, remember, you're not going to close anybody. This is a much longer sales process. It just is. It's a different industry. So, you're not showing up closing the person the same day. I love you guys. There are some people that are, in my opinion, the best salesmen in America are door knockers. I started in that. But you do have to understand, 1 out of 1,000 customers, maybe you're going to close the same day. It's almost never going to happen. In fact, it can't, because we got to really run more analyses. So the point is it's not going to be the same day close. It's going to take time. It's probably going to take a month or two, maybe even 3 months, and sometimes longer. And that's based off of dealing with a company versus a person. So just keep that in mind. Sorry, Josh, I cut you off, but it's important for these Resi guys to get into their heads that it's a completely different sales cycle. And that's what we mean when we're saying commercial's very different than Resi.
Yeah, well, you're not saying it to intimidate anybody. You're just letting them know you don't have to be intimidated. You've got a team at Sologent and Fortress Power that will help you get it across the finish line for you and your company, and help you be a success. But be aware there's a longer sales cycle, and you'll have to have a little bit more patience than just throwing a residential, roof and small battery job and moving on to the next. But just doing the Resi and a battery job and moving on to the next. Right now in California, the overall volume of sales for jobs is down like 75% for just that traditional business. Even though energy storage attach rates are up 90%, we're still, according to Bernadette Del Chiaro, executive director from CALSA, who was on the Beyond Emissions podcast 3 episodes ago, she said that because of that, we're actually selling about the same amount of batteries as we were last year. So even though they've got to have a battery, people aren't buying solar and a battery because of the high interest cost with double the principal for both. So things like standalone storage in utilizing time of use with little or no solar, things like not having battery backup with your solar and just using the battery just to self-consume energy and make that ROI for the solar happen. Things like virtual power plant available through Energy Broker if you use Fortress Power equipment, which is available at Sologent. Things like that. C&I opportunities, agriculture. We've got a team with Matt Ruttenberg and Josh Brum, myself here, and my team and my sales staff ready to help you now. So email me today, storage@sologent.net. Come by our booth, 2305 Pavilion B, World Ag Expo, February 13th through the 16th. We are going to be, or through the 15th, excuse me. We're going to be there next week, and we're excited. You're going to be there. Matt, you have it's like a tabletop version, a miniaturized version. It's so cool. I want to shrink down and go inside.
The Eastfire Mini?
Yeah, talk about that, man.
Well, first of all, it's going to happen. I'll tell you right now, Josh. There's going to be a ton of people, walking by making jokes, being like, "You mean to tell me I get 266 kWh in this tiny box?" But the thing's super cool. It's a little 3D unit. The actual eSpire Mini. It's not mini. We did a terrible job of branding this thing because it's not mini. It's a good size system, and it's the same size as the other systems, except it's just one box, and it looks gorgeous. And so everything's inside of it. But the actual eSpire Mini is 7 feet long, 4 feet wide, and about 8 feet tall. So, this is a good size box, But this Mini is like, I don't know, a foot and a half. It's like a foot and a half. So it's a really cool little thing. But we'll have our videos of video demos going of our systems, both the eSpire Mini and the larger eSpire system. The larger eSpire goes from 125 kW up to 625 kW of nameplate AC power delivery. And on the energy storage side, it's from 280 kWh up to 4.2 megawatt hours. We're also throwing in, more custom bespoke. We have other systems that we have as well, but those are our two core product offerings. But yeah, we'll be there. I will not take offense if anyone wants to, bring a cowboy hat for me. I am a size 11 and a half. I will rock the cowboy boots. I'm ready to embrace Central California, baby. So I'm excited. Josh, where are we going to eat? Well, is there some good food? Like, what's a good restaurant to go to?
There's no restaurants in there. What you have is a lot of local groups like Rotary and the band and whatnot from my alma mater, Tulare Western Mustangs, the high school in Tulare, California. That's where I graduated from. And so the Mustangs are out there selling their tri-tip sandwiches, and you've got the Rotary out there. You've got churches out there. So a lot of times what happens is nonprofits, they go out there and they man all these food centers and they feed the masses. And I'm talking the masses, man. The best tri-tip you've ever had, dude. OMG.
Oh, I cannot wait. That sounds fantastic. I will say when you said the band, I'm a huge fan of the actual band called the band. I think they're all
up on Cripple Creek.
I think they're all dead now.
Yeah, up on Cripple Creek. Creek. I love it. I actually have like a poster, believe it or not, framed. I'll have to share it with you, Josh. I'll take a picture, but I have an original, like from the 60s or something, of the band, and never before released. Very cool. A buddy of mine worked at anyways, it was the production or record company that had those guys. So he got me a really cool poster that I framed of the band. By the way, shout out to Martin Scorsese. If no one's ever seen The Last Waltz before, an incredible documentary. It was the last. Anyways, I could go on and on, but big fan of the band. Apologies there. Good stuff, Josh. I'm looking forward to this next week, man. It's gonna be fun. All right, let's do it, folks. This is the man, the myth, the legend, together again for the first time. You can meet him, Pavilion B, booth 2305, World Ag Expo at the Sologent booth, coming up this week, upcoming in Tulare, California. And if you can't make it, no big whoop. Just email me, storage@sologent.net, with your opportunity, your challenge, your pain point, your customers' concerns. And we'll set up a one-on-one meeting do a pre-project checklist. We'll get all that info from you. We'll set up a meeting with Matt and his C&I team over at Fortress Power. C&I solutions for energy storage and solar available at your clean energy solution provider, Sologent. And we want to thank you very much. Thanks for joining us on this mission. Matt Ruttenberg from Fortress Power, thanks for being on the show today, and I look forward to working with you next week, my friend.
Yeah, likewise, Josh. Appreciate it. That was great. It was a lot of fun. It's always great talking with you, man. And we're going to have a great time next week. Can't wait to see everyone out there.
Yeah, as they say in the world of agriculture, yeehaw. All right. Thank you very much, Matt. Hang on the line for our engineers, and I'll be right with you. Well, I mean, what an amazing show. What an amazing guy, that guy. Matt Ruttenberg, we work with him on a regular basis. He really does a great job of customizing commercial industrial turnkey packages for our customers here at Solagent. If you're not experiencing that level of customized service, I think you may be buying from the wrong distributor. It's time to make a change. And that, again, hearkening back to Margaret Thatcher, if you keep doing the definition of insanity is if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, right? Yeah. So don't be insane. Make a change. Change your distributors if you're currently not working with Solagent for your solar energy storage, electrical balance of systems, racking, inverters, EV charging, tools and safety. We've got it all. We've got access to everything that you will need for your clean energy solutions. We are your clean energy solution provider, Solagent. And thanks so much for tuning in here every single week for a brand new episode. Experts from around the world. I learn something every week. Hope you do too. Again, if you'd like to find out more, email me storage@solagent.net. That's storage@solagent.net. Again, I'm Josh Brum, Energy Storage Manager here at Solagent and host of the Beyond Emissions podcast. CALSSA, CALSSA, stands for California Solar and Storage Association. Join over 700 companies, including Solagent, and become a CALSSA member today. Go to www.calssa.org/join and enter Solagent as the discount code and receive 10% off your first year. Membership starts as low as $500 per year and covers you and your entire company. You can pay in monthly installments or once per year. Why join CALSSA? For over 40 years, CALSSA has been fighting for your rights in California. If you're an installer or contractor in California, it's CALSSA working behind the scenes on your behalf to protect the solar and energy storage business you and your companies rely on each day. Imagine the utilities are totally unchecked without CALSSA fighting for you. CALSSA fights for your rights and also provides resources like direct one-on-one support from their experts to help you with your questions, navigating everything from NEM 3 to battery fire code compliance. CALSSA will help you and your company to stay up to date on the latest policy changes that impact the California solar and storage market and your bottom line. Joining CALSSA helps to fund their work to lobby for cutting solar and storage red tape, pass pro-solar laws, and to defend your business from attacks. Become a CALSSA member today at www.calssa.org/join and enter the discount code Solagent to receive 10% off your first year. CALSSA is fighting for you and your business. Join over 700 companies like Solagent and make a difference in the California solar and energy storage market today.